very good Saturday morning to more than 1,100 people here live on the stream. Great to have everybody with us to start off college football week 0. I mean, we're already booming north of 1,000, week 0. And the man who needs no introduction, Mr. Brad Powers himself, joining us here every Saturday and Monday throughout the college football season to get you ahead of releases in the market. Brad, we had text message exchanges all summer long, and I read back, and it's just, I'm excited. We're finally here. You ready to go for college football?
Absolutely. Super pumped for this.
This is going to be great. And so for everybody who needs to know everything about Brad Powers, you can follow him on Twitter at BradPowers7. He is destroying the right adjective. College football markets, FCS, FBS. You've had a ton of success. And the goal here of the show on Covers is to put long-term winners with bettors on the live stream so everybody can bet together and get the same odds on the bet and get ahead of the market. So, Brad, what we're doing here, let's just run it down for everybody who's here for the first time. Because it's week 0, we don't have the huge card, so we'll keep it really simple. I'm going to say what time the game is at because everybody's going to need to go into their sportsbook app. You're going to have to scroll through. So I'll tell you the time, and that'll allow you to get through the app and get to the section of the app where the game is. I'll then tell you what the game is, and then right away I'll say if it's a side or a total, and we'll give everybody about 5 or 10 seconds to get in before we say the bet, and every bet is going to be a confirmed bet. So as soon as we say what the bet is, you want to go ahead and submit that bet to get it into your sportsbook because these numbers are going to move a lot. And you've already seen some movement yesterday as these numbers came out a little bit early. Tell us what was going on there and what we might expect going forward for the season.
Yeah, so no surprise, Adam. We've had multiple touchdown plus line moves in the FCS market. In fact, one game's moved 14 points already due to several suspensions for Florida. A&M, North Carolina's taken some money. This is kind of a unique week. The fact that these lines were released yesterday and kind of beaten into submission a little bit, that's not going to be the case moving forward. A lot of times we're going to be dealing with lines that have just been released within the last 15 minutes. So, will be more volume in future weeks. We're only dealing with 7 games today. Starting next week, it'll be 57 games.
I like the sounds of that. And you're no stranger to volume, so I think we'll have some much busier weeks than this one. A reminder before we get to the first bet right here, if you want to follow along with us all season, hit the subscribe button down below. You'll get notifications every time that Brad goes live here on Covers. And I also want to remind everyone, in just less than 25 minutes, we're going to have another release show with the guys from Right Angle Sports. A very busy Saturday, so stay tuned for that one. Brad, with all that said, let's get to the first bet. What do you think?
Yeah, so we're going to be going to a game at 5 p.m. Eastern is the kickoff.
All right, so we'll give everybody a few seconds here. We'll allow you to open up your sportsbook. The time of the game is at 5 p.m. And here on the right side, as always, we have the odds screen coming up. This is from Spank Odds, which is now being sent out. So if you have the odds screen on your end as well, you'll be able to follow along, see all of these bets and the movement that comes with them. It's going to be pretty interesting, to say the least. So again, the time of the game here is at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So you can open your sportsbook app. We'll give you a few more seconds, scroll through, get to the game at 5 p.m. Eastern. Now that you are in your sportsbook app at 5 p.m. Eastern, we will look at the game, which is Duquesne at Florida State. So we'll be looking at the Duquesne, Florida State game. It may be under your extra games, depending on your app that you're looking at. So if you have to go a little extra scroll here, we'll give you a couple seconds to find Duquesne, Florida State within your sportsbook app. We'll give everybody 10 more seconds here to get down to Duquesne, Florida State. Be able to tell you what the side or total is for the release in just a couple seconds, and we'll get to the bet altogether. In the Duquesne, Florida State game, we are going to be betting on a side. And the bet is game number 308905 Duquesne plus 45.5. So as you can see on the odds screen right now, there are 46.5s available in a lot of different places. The game number is 308905 Duquesne plus 45.5. We see now Chris start to move down, and as everyone's betting here, you start to see the red cells light up. Game is going to move in a hurry. It's week 0, Brad. It's a bit of a tight card, but when we're looking at Duquesne 308905, as people start to let us know in the chat what numbers they were able to get at, let's talk a bit about this. What has you on the 46 or 45.5 point underdog here?
So anytime you got a big spread like this, it's not necessarily about the underdog. It's more about the favorite and the motivation to get margin. In this instance, I question Florida State's motivation to get margin here, especially with a huge game against LSU on deck next week. On top of that, Florida State's been dealing with some injuries. It got some key guys out on the offensive line for this game. So I don't expect the starters to play significant minutes in the second half. I don't expect a lot of creative play calling or up-tempo play calling from Mike Norvell, the head coach. Because of that, I'm on Duquesne. And also, I'll say this about Duquesne. They're a little bit of a below-average FCS program, but they're a winning FCS program in their own conference. And, I mean, I get it. Ohio's not Florida State, but Duquesne beat Ohio outright, an FBS team, as a 4-touchdown underdog last year. So that'll give them maybe some slight confidence that they can at least try to compete with Florida State. But again, it's all about the lack of motivation for margin, or at least to show LSU, next week's opponent for Florida State, some things on tape that they're probably going to keep for next week.
And I'm not going to pry into too many details here. I'll let you keep a lot of it to yourself. But when it comes to those like look ahead situations, is that something that bettors in the chat who are just getting into college football season mode, is that something like you would encourage to think about consistently, or is that really like a specific spot here and there angle? Because it's something we hear talked about all the time in the media.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a great question, Adam. In this instance, it's a factor for me just because we're dealing with a huge point spread. Always for me, it comes down to number, and I should have led this off. My number's 42. So, I mean, we got a little bit of line value there with the 3.5 point difference. Now, in future weeks, you're going to hear me say we got 6-7 points comparative line value compared to my power rating. So that's always a starting point for me. Yeah, situationally, when you're looking at a 45.5 point favorite and they got a huge game on deck, it is one of the key factors for me handicapping 101.
We just saw, as you mentioned, a 6.5 point move at FanDuel. They got down to as low as 38.5 before there was immediate buyback to 40. So it looks like it is going to settle around your number of 42.5. We're still seeing a lot of 41.5s around. Lots of people in the chat say someone found the 47. There was also 46.5s available at a couple different spots. So there were a lot of people who were able to get a lot better than the 45.5. Well, I say a lot better. I don't know how key we're talking about coming off the 45, but people were definitely able to find 46.5. So again, it is week 0, so just the one bet. But Brad, you're no stranger to volume, so I think going forward on these Saturday morning streams, we might see a few more games and a few more things light up on the screen. And boy, God forbid we get to a total. I can't wait to see what happens with those. So just the one on Duquesne for today.
Starting next week.
I will have more volume as it comes, but just the one today on Duquesne, 308,905 plus 45.5. And Brad, we will be back on Monday morning. So that's going to be fun looking ahead to an official week 1. It's good to have football back, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's my favorite sport, obviously.
I can't wait. So we'll be back Monday morning with Brad Powers, but we'll be back in 20 minutes with the guys at Right Angle Sports. The link for that video is on the YouTube channel. I'll be tweeting it out in just a second. Brad, thanks very much for week 1, and thank you for everybody in the chat who joined us and got ahead of the number here with Duquesne. We'll talk to you guys in a few minutes, and we'll be back with Brad Monday morning.